Look at the difference from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was not supportive of associating top constitutional authorities with a temple reopening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi right now performing the Jalabhishek at the temple. Is there a total shift in thinking, sir? Does that take away from what Pandit Nehru used to describe as secularism of the time, sir?
No, shift is very clear. The secularism, so-called secularism or the pseudo-secularism of Jawaharlal Nehru was that V.N. Gadgil, his own cabinet colleague, he has mentioned in his book, Government from Inside. He was upset that why Somnath should not be restored. And he has mentioned that as PWD minister, he has got repairing of so many dargahs and masjid on the government expenditure. And Nehru said it was secularism. If Nehruji was total secular, then what was the need of Muslim personal law board in this country? Then Madarsa, then Hajj subsidy, then Waqf board, then triple talaq, then Mehram, then Halala. This is secularism. But as far as Hinduism is concerned, no, there is nothing to be there. And I would like to remind those who say that from the government exchequer it should not be built. You know, there was a famous shrine in Kashmir, Charare Sharif, which was burned by a terrorist Mast Gul in 1995. And then he managed to flee to Pakistan. Then who rebuilt that? By the government expenditure. Then central government has allocated 15 crore to rebuild what? Dargah, Charare Sharif. And now they try to give a sermon. So what Prime Minister has said, Nehru was controlling the colonial legacy and he has made India a partially Muslim country by constitution in the garb of pseudo-secularism. Now Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi is turning it into true secular country. Otherwise, I challenge my opponents. Can they name a single secular country in the world in which Sharia is having a constitutional sanction and triple talaq, Mehram, Halala, Hajj subsidy, Waqf board are also there. So that's why there is a huge shift. Now India is realizing its identity and potential both in the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi.
Okay. You know, the Prime Minister mentioned that Dr. Rajendra Prasad stood firm despite objections that were raised and the rest is history. But is there merit in Pandit Nehru, in your view, writing, for example, that, our missions overseas should not provide holy water from the Sindhu river for this ceremony, or they should not be seen to be associated in any way with the rebuilding of the Somnath temple?
That was nothing but a residual impact of the defeatist mindset. Because when Jawaharlal Nehru was saying this, still in 1951, you know, India's Air Force Chief was British. Till 1954, Gerald Gibbs was the last British Air Force Chief of India. And you know, the India's Naval Chief was also British. Till 1958, Stephen Carlyle was the last Admiral of the Indian Navy. So he was having the colonial mindset. He was having a fear that nothing to do with the foreign missions. And today what happened? Under the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, Ayodhya mein Ram Mandir bhi bana hai aur Abu Dhabi mein bhi mandir bana hai. So there is a difference. He is not having that, you can say, inferiority complex. He went to Somnath. He went to Pashupatinath, and you have seen he has come out with that thing. He has decided to give Gita to all the leaders, from Barack Obama in 2015, in his 2014 first visit to US, to recent visit of Putin. So now India is rising to its consciousness. I would like to quote Gaurav. On 16th of May 2014, when we got clear majority under the leadership of Pradhan Mantri Shri Narendra Modi, on 18th of May 2014, Sunday Guardian of London had written an article, it's editorial, which heading was India's second tryst with destiny. And what you know what he has written? It has written that 16th of May 2014 should be remembered in Indian history as the day on which Britishers finally left India. Because those who were ruling before were having some way or the other the carried over effect of the British colonial legacy, with an exception of 1998 to 2004, in which we were not having the clear majority. First time an absolute power has come in the hands of that thought, which is having no connection with the British colonial legacy. So what Nehru was thinking was immediate impact of slavery mindset, And what this Modi ji is saying is a Swabhiman mindset.
That's a very interesting point you make, but how would you respond to those who say that India is at a risk of becoming a Hindu Pakistan, the manner in which there is such blatant display of the Hindu religion, of the Sanatan Dharma and the the Sanatan way of life, sir?
This is a very unfortunate, illogical argument. You cannot compare Hindu Dharma with any religion or sect. In Islam, there is a clear-cut concept of Jimmi and Jazia. It is well known there in the text. Jazia means the tax to be levied on non-Muslim subject in the Muslim rule. There is a concept of Darul Harb and Darul Islam. There is nothing equivalent in Hindu Dharma. Can you quote a single text in which it said how the non-Hindu subject should be treated? And moreover, Islam is having the concept of conversion. Christianity is also having the concept of conversion. In Hindu Dharma, there is nothing like conversion. So India was the only major power of the ancient world which never went for invasion. Because the primary motivation for invasion was conversion. तो अगर भारत राइज कर रहा है तो मैं अटल जी की कविता की पंक्ति आपको बताना चाहता हूं, which will clear all the doubts from the mind. His very famous poem, हिंदू तनमन हिंदू जीवन रग रग हिंदू मेरा परिचय. His last stanza says, होकर स्वतंत्र मैंने कब चाहा मैं कर लूं जग को गुलाम, मैंने तो सदा सिखाया है करना अपने मन को गुलाम. गोपाल राम के नामों पर कब मैंने अत्याचार किया, कब दुनिया को हिंदू करने घर घर में नरसंहार किया. कोई बतलाए काबुल में जाकर कितनी मस्जिद तोड़ी. भूभाग नहीं शत शत मानव के हृदय जीतने का निश्चय. हिंदू तनमन हिंदू जीवन रग रग हिंदू मेरा परिचय. और मैं एक और चीज ऐड करना चाहता हूं जी. जब आप भगवान शंकर के साथ अपनी चेतना को जोड़ते हैं तो ये पूरे देश के साथ जुड़ जाती है. आप उत्तर में अमरनाथ से लेके, दक्षिण में रामेश्वरम से लेके, मल्लिकार्जुन से लेके, विश्वनाथ, काशी विश्वनाथ से लेके महाकाल, उज्जैन तो ही जुड़ जाते हैं. बट यू ऑल्सो गेट अटैच टू पशुपतिनाथ एंड मानसरोवर एंड कटास राज विच इज इन पाकिस्तान. एंड नॉट ओनली दिस, the biggest scientific discovery of the 21st century was Higgs boson, which was discovered in Sun Laboratory of Europe in 2012. And in the lobby of the Sun Laboratory, there is a statue of dancing Nataraj. And Fritz Capra, the Austrian scientist, has written it beneath that statue, that the now science has come to the conclusion that with the perpetual destruction and creation of universe is like a cosmic dance of Shiva. I would like to ask, such a vast consciousness which you are saying starts from anywhere in India. Presently in Somnath, what Prime Minister is doing, I challenge my opponents. Can they quote a single god or single religious text of any religion or mazhab which inspires one of the biggest scientific laboratory, and that too to the scientist who doesn't belong to that religion? Fritz Capra was not Hindu. And third thing, he is not asked to convert into that religion. So I think it also gives social, economic, scientific, complete explanation to what you have said.
And before I let you go, I want you, for the benefit of our viewers, describe, what Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when this the Jalabhishek is happening, when he's praying to Lord Shiv at Somnath Ji, what is the significance of this prayer and these ceremonies, sir?
Actually, whatever is there in Indian context, it is having a very elaborate but subtle scientific aspect. It will be a huge subject to discuss, but at present, what he's saying, I would just like to say, when the Pandits are chanting the mantras, I would just like to say one thing, though I am sitting on the English channel. Gaurav, you close your eyes, and three peoples are speaking English. One is from Punjab, another from Bihar, another from Tamil Nadu. Just by accent, you can identify that this person may be from Punjab, this may be from Bihar, this may be from Tamil Nadu, or this may be from the US, or this may be from the Europe, or this may be from the Chinese. But in Sanskrit, if a shlok has been chanted, the mantra is being chanted at Somnath, or Pashupatinath, or Kamakhya, or anywhere Kashi Vishwanath, you cannot say whether it is the Biharis is speaking, or the Punjabis is speaking, or Tamil is speaking, because The language is so perfect. The phonetics are so scientifically devised. And one more thing I would like to say before I leave, that this is a false has been created, that the Sanskrit was used because by oral tradition because they doesn't know how to write. Those who have given such a huge knowledge of trigonometry, geometry, algebra, to astronomy, to Charak, Shushruta Samhita, Ayurveda, and the philosophy like Upanishad, if somebody says that they were not able to read, he may be not be foolish. He is definitely a cynical person.